everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you again with with an update. So what I've been doing, what my progress was since the last time, my last WIP video. I realized when I did the WIP video that I had left a couple of WIPs out. They were sitting in a basket next to my stitchy spot, and I forgot all about them. So I need to show you guys those two. Don't want to cheat you out of seeing anything that I've been up to. Way too many WIPs. And it's not going to stop there, I have a feeling. So, but what I wanted to do was thank every one of you that has watched, liked, subscribed to my videos, commented. I just had some wonderful comments, and I tried to get back and answer every single one of you. If I didn't, it might be because I can't see your comment. I have heard that's happened in the past with some other YouTubers. But I do try to like and answer back on the comments that you guys send me, because it's so sweet, and it's just a way to connect. And that's the reason that I started my YouTube channel, this Flosstube, is to connect with other stitchers that loved this hobby like I do. And we have that commonality, and I don't have anybody here to stitch with, and I'm just in my little corner of the world. But this is one way I feel like it just brings people from all over the world. I've had commenters and subscribers from Canada and Australia and just all over the place. Devonshire, England. It's just been wonderful, and I love it. And I want to continue this journey with you guys, and I thank you so much. So let me first off get to the couple of forgotten WIPs that I did not show you, that I do also have, that I've been working on. What happens is on my chair, my stitchy spot, I have this small tote bag. It folds flat, so it's easy to store, and it fits the 11 by 11 Q-snaps, and smaller in hoops or anything like that would fit in here. 11 by 17 doesn't, but these, I have two projects here on 11 by 11 Q-snaps, and I can usually fit 3 or 4 projects on Q-snaps in this basket, this little bag, and set it by my stitchy spot, or carry it. I can carry it into the other room. If my husband, if we want to watch a movie or a show together, I can sit on the chair in the other room. I have a floor lamp that has a light that comes, like a reading light off of the floor lamp, that'll get a little closer, so it gives me good lighting in that room. And that way I'm not putting too much light. My husband will complain if there's like blaring light in his face while he's trying to watch TV. So that way I'm the one sitting under the spotlight, and so I can stitch and see with my old eyes. But these two WIPs, the first one is, let me take them out of here. The first one is called Jenny Bean Friendship Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. And it looks like this. And I had worked on this one for 2 or 3 days this month. And this is where I was able to get to. There again, I started up in this, the upper left-hand corner. So this house is this red brick looking house. And I was able to do some of these ABCs around it. Get the A, B, C, D, E, and F done, and a few of these little motifs, and get the roof finished. And I was starting to do some house framing. So I was doing some construction work on this one this past couple of weeks. So that is that WIP. And the other one I had left out is called Home of a Needleworker 2 by Little House Needleworks. And it looks like this. I know a lot of people have seen this one. It's not an unusual pattern. And I was able to get this far on this one. I actually had started this one a little while back and pulled it back out. So let me see. I actually had started this one in December of 2020. And I worked on it a few days, a couple of days in December, 3 days in March, and 3 days in April. So this is about a week, about 8 days worth of stitching to get this far on this one. And my little needle came off of its little needle minder. But got the house finished, and just, I'm loving the progress on this one so far. So those are my 2 other WIPs to add to my WIP pile that I forgot to show you guys. There's one more that that leads me into progress. What I've been working on these last few days since I finished my WIP parade was, let me find it. It was actually a car project. I had it in a small bag for me to work on my lunch hours from work, or I have 2 little dogs and I take them to the groomers, and it was, my groomer was actually a neighbor of mine in a house I lived in previous. I moved last July, so a little less than a year ago, and I live about half an hour farther away from where I used to live. And so when I still want to take my dogs to the same girl who's been grooming my dogs for years, last few years, she's just so good with them, and she does it in her house. And my one little dog, she has anxiety issues. She's afraid of a lot of other people and dogs and cats, and she just gets really anxious when she's around a lot of strange people. So if I take her to then she's grooming them in her house, and she has one little dog that my dogs are used to. His name is Reese. He is just the cutest little thing, and he comes and he wants to play with them when they come over. So long story short, when I do take them to have them groomed, it takes about 2 hours for both of them to be groomed, bathed, clipped, the whole 9 yards, blow dried. So I sit in the car and I stitch when I take them and drop them off at the groomers, and I just sit, instead of spending half an hour driving out, half an hour driving back home, half an hour driving back out to her house. I might as well just sit there. If it's a nice day, I just sit in the car and stitch. There's not really, where I used to live was very country and rural. So there's not a lot around there. I think there's a Food Lion, a Subway, a McDonald's. That's about it. I mean, there's not a lot there, an AutoZone, a dollar store. So I just sit in the car and I work on some cross-stitch projects. So this was another WIP that I forgot to show you guys because it was sitting in my car. And this one is called Pumpkin Spice by Shannon Christine. It looks like this. And this is a PDF download off of her site. If you just go to Shannon Christine Designs, you can go to her site and download some of hers. I know 123 Stitch also carries hers, and I think probably other people too. But what I had already had done, this is where I am now, but what I had done was the cup and this pumpkin and this little bit of greenery up here, the vining up here. So I was working on this one, and I had pulled this one was up on my WIP Go. I do participate in WIP Go, which is a Facebook group, and it's kind of like it's almost like a bingo board. A lot of you probably have heard of it or know it or are participating in it also. I can't speak. I'm sorry. So this one was pulled to work 12 hours this month, and I was able to get this part of the lettering of I'm missing pump, and I got kin. This little motif here. I did this little bit of vining down here, and I was able to get the word spice and these little orange decorative things down here done in my 12 hours of stitching for the month. So I was able to finish that WIP Go goal. That was attained. Actually, I just finished it yesterday. So that's one of the things I've been working on since my last, when I finished my WIP parade finale. When I finished that, this was one of the things I was working on. So it's on my WIP Go board 2 more times to work on it. So I'm thinking if all I've got left is the other pumpkin, the rest of this lettering up here, and these couple of little motif thingies. I should be able to finish that for sure over 2 more 12-hour times, but I'm hoping that I will get so close with this pumpkin and this part of the lettering that I may just continue to work on it and finish it. Because my goal is I want to have this finished by the end of the summer so that I can FFO it to have it in my, have it displayed for this fall, for September, October, November. And so that is a finish I'm trying to work on for this year. So that was something that I have been working on since last checked in with you guys. The other thing I was working on, and this was a WIP I was good and showed you guys, but this is Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. And when I showed it to you before, I had some of this left-hand border, some of these, the flowers here, most of them done, and a little bit of this lettering. And I pulled it out and I worked on it a whole other day. I think some that evening after I finished my WIP Go finale, and then the next day. And I was able to get this basket in, finish up all these little, like, I guess they're little red berries in this plant. And a couple of these flowers weren't quite all the way finished. I had to put some of the red around them. And then this little border piece here. So I was able to get that done that day that I was working on it. And also I had talked to you guys before about, it calls for this to be done, this kind of white part to be done in cream, DMC cream color. I think it's 877, not real sure, but, and I had talked to you about possibly trying to do white. So I did stitch this one in white to see how much of a difference that would make. Because when you look at the whole design, it goes all the way around. So you have these little white parts all in the border. Plus there's all of these little white flowers in where the strawberries are. And then of course the eagle, this little motif here has white. The flag has white in it. This white basket. I wanted all of those to show up because this fabric looks a little bit darker than what I'm working with. And I am working with, what color is this one? Land That I Love. This is lamb's wool, 16 count lamb's wool Ada. And I'm working with pretty much the called for colors, but like I said, I'm probably going to switch out this white. This means I need to get the frog going and frog out, you know, rip out all the cream that I put in these 3 places. I didn't want to get any farther till I checked to see if I liked the white better or not. So that was my little bit of progress that I had done on that one. And then I was also working on, get that out of the way. I was working on another WIP Go piece, and this one is called Trick or Treat, and this is also a Shannon Christine design. And my WIP Go goal on this for the month of May was to work 10 hours on this one. So I pulled it out, I started it, and this is how far I was able to get in 10 hours. So I got most of this top, I got the border done. It's not a very big piece. And I got most of the top part done. I'm just missing a couple of these a couple of green and pink. To me, these look like fireworks in the sky. That's what they kind of remind me of. I got the little orange one done, and I was able to get this done. Love the bright colors that Shannon Christine uses. She's used, let me see if I can find my, here we go. Like I love the bright colors of the oranges and that cup. That's what drew me to this, to her patterns. It was just the beautiful colors. So these are stitched on the same color fabric, since they're kind of in the same, almost same colorway. They use a lot of similar colors. And these are stitched on a 16 count dirty Ada, both of these. This was, and I think they came off of the exact same piece. I just cut it up and did it that way. So that's what I've been able to stitch on. So I was able to finish my WIP Go goals for the month of May. I was slacking because I was doing some Mania starts. Those were some of the WIP Go pieces I had showed you earlier that I had been working on in May. And I started thinking about it. I was like, wow, I've got 3 or 4 days left of May, and I haven't even touched my WIP Go pieces. I think I did just a couple of hours on the spice lot, the pumpkin spice one. And I still had 10 more hours to stitch on that one. I had 10 hours on Trick or Treat. And so I thought I better get busy. So that's what I've been busy working on, is those couple of fall and Halloween pieces. So that's my progress since the last time we spoke. I have a little bit of notes here, so because there were a few things I wanted to go over with you guys. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is my plans for June. What I want to do is, like I had said, I have WIP Go going. So the numbers were called for WIP Go, and I'm going to show you my fancy dancy. Isn't that a word for you? Fancy dancy WIP Go board that I have made. Oh my gosh. I mean, I had to get out a ruler and everything. It's still not straight. But it would look better than if I just free-handed it. I mean, my lines would be going wonky and stupid. So this is my WIP Go for 2021. This is my board. When the number is called, like for instance in January, number 6 was called. So I write January at the top just so I can glance at this and see what month these were called. And then I put, like, this is one of the numbers that was called for June. I put a line through it and I write June. So I know number 1 was one of the called numbers, and the other one was number 17. So I have June written here and I have a line through it. Okay, this number's been called, but it has not been completed yet. And this one's been called and has not been completed. In January, this number was called, and I completed whatever my goal was for that number. And same with this one, was in February. This one was in March. I was really doing good in January, February, and March. I was knocking these out. I was getting them done. I was posting them on the Facebook group, which is called WIP Go 2021 Facebook group. To join, you just have to answer a couple of questions so they can make sure you're not a spammer, and they'll usually, you know, you can join along. I know we're already almost halfway through the year, but you know, if you wanted to just do it to have some goals, that you wanted to try to use it as a goal tracker for you, and something to kind of spur you on and finish something or get a little more progress on something. And that's the whole point of this, in my opinion. That's what I'm using it for. So, but then April came and I didn't finish some of these. I did finish my May ones. I haven't X'd them out. So my May were the 2 that I just showed you. So I did finish those, but I need to work on April still. So for the month of June, I am going to be working on my WIP Go, and the 2 numbers that were called, my list is on the back. So when the number is called, I circle it. When I finished it, when I have met my WIP Go goal, like here is Celtic Autumn. So my Celtic Autumn girl, to work 5 days on her, it was called in February. I finished my 5 days on her. I marked it out and I X'd it out in the front so that I would know I met that goal, and that part of my WIP Go is complete. So all of these were completed. This was a free space that was called in January. So in January, these 3 numbers were called because one of them was the free space. And you can choose to make, you know, put a goal in there too if you wanted to. So one of the months you would have 3 things that you would have to attain, 3 goals to shoot for and try to finish. So these are what I have left. And what I put on here were items that I wanted to push to finish, or I really wanted to push to get a lot done on, that were sitting in my WIPs. Like Guardian Angel. She was one of my old WIPs that I had showed you that all she has left is a little halo, kind of an arch over her head, to just, and a little bit of flowers in the bottom of her gown to finish her. So I have her down as a WIP goal on my number 3 space to finish her. Let's see, she's one of the ones for April I didn't get finished. I didn't work on that one. So I want to try to work on that one this month. That means I want to try to get a finish on Guardian Angel for the month of June. I'm going to see if I can get my April goals on my WIPGO board finished. And the other one was number 21, which is to work 12 hours on Pandemic by Long Dog. And I did not work any on my Pandemic in the month of April or May. So I've got 12 hours I need to work on that one. The ones that were called for the month of June were number 1, which is my Autumn Angel. She was my Lavender and Lace Autumn Angel that I showed in my WIP parade that has, all she has left is the confetti parts. The parts like a bouquet of flowers that she's holding that kind of go down the side of her dress. All I need to do is basically finish those confetti parts and I'll have her finished. So I wanted to work 12 hours for the month of June on the Autumn Angel. And the other one for June is to work 10 more hours on Trick or Treat. So that's the one that I just worked 10 hours and got this done this far. So I need to work 10 more hours on this one for the month of June. So what I'm hoping to accomplish would maybe be like this whole centerpiece here. So if I could get all of that done this month, if that would only take me 10 hours, that would be great. If I can get that far. Because it is on my WIPGO board another time. It's on here 3 times. So it was called last month. It's called again this month. And one more time. And I should be able to finish it. Because when it gets called again, I should be able then, hopefully, if I get this part done this month, then the next time it's called, just finish this. And I can have this one completed so that I can FFO it and have it displayed for October. So those are some of my things that I'm going to be working on for the month of June. For those 4 things on my WIPGO board. And then I also wanted to, I'm going to do 2 new starts this month. I had told you that I'm going to StitchCon this month. I think it's like the 21st or something like that of June is when I'm going, 16th. So I have a couple of weeks to accomplish making a small finish to do an exchange. It's voluntary. You don't have to do a smalls exchange when you go. I've never done a smalls exchange. I've never made a small. In all of my years of cross-stitching, I have never made a small. So what I thought I would do, I contemplated and I thought about it and I looked through my stuff and what can I do? What can I make? And I decided that I'm going to make a little pillow and I'm going to take this one, this design, but I'm just going to take where these candy corns are, and not the border, not this black border, but just the candy corns, Trick or Treat, the black cat, the candy, and this ribbon here, this orange ribbon. I'm just going to do this part right here and try to make a small pillow out of it, a little Halloween pillow. So that means I'm going to be stitching this twice this month. If I don't feel like stitching this twice this month, I could come down here and stitch this one and then stitch that one next month. You know, we'll see how I feel once I finish this smalls. If I'm like, yeah, I can do it twice. Yeah. So that is one start for this month, is to make a small for StitchCon. The other start for the month of June, the other thing I want to work on this month is a new start, and it's Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. I have seen several people working on this, both on YouTube and on Instagram, seeing their progress and what they've been doing. And I've been seeing that and loving that. I know Amy Loves Toads on YouTube, and I think Brenda, Handwork Maniac, I think she was working on this one, and some people on Instagram. And I finally went ahead and purchased it a couple of months ago, and I thought, because every time I see this, like it just looks okay. It's cute. But when I see this done, it's really, really pretty. And I love some of the fabric. So I ordered the pattern and then I wanted to start it and I ordered some fabric. I was trying to go for kind of a lightly purple mottled hued kind of fabric. Well, I ordered a piece and I can't remember what the piece was called. I thought it said it had slight purple mottling in it. But when I got it, it actually just looked gray to me and it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I totally switched gears, went through my stash because I had pulled all the colors for it. So here's my, my floss drop, and it has all of these beautiful purples and blues, you know, going on in here, along with all of the other colors. So I did a floss drop, went through my fabric that I had, a couple of pieces that were big enough for this, and I completely changed. Instead of purple, I'm going to do it on this 16 count Glacier by Picture This Plus. I just thought the colors are going to look really nice, I think, on this one. So that is going to be a new start for June. I know I'm adding to my WIP Go totals. Who knows how many I'll have by the end of the year. But I just thought that this Huckleberry Farm, that's what I want to get a start on that one. That one has been on my radar for 2-3 months now. So I'm going to start on that one. So those are things that I'm going to work on it for June. And the other thing is I wanted to pick something right here with you guys. What I had done was I downloaded a free wheel app, like a wheel on a car. And I put all of my WIPs on this wheel. It's sitting at something that was already, when I was playing with it to see how it spin. So I'm going to spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on will be another thing that I will work on for the month of June. So here we go. Let's see what we get out of like 50 some odd things on here. Celtic Spring. So that's one of my Celtic girls from Lavender and Lace. I can run and get her real quick and show you guys. I was waiting on, I was missing some of the gold thread that I needed for her, and that actually came in this past week. So I was so excited to finally get that gold thread. But let me get up and get my Celtic Spring real quick. Hold please. Sorry about that, people. I don't know how to pause a video and splice it together and get it to pick up. I'm not very tech savvy. I'm going to learn as I go. But Celtic Spring, it was one of my ladies that was on a scroll rod, and this is her right here. So I'm going to then try to work on getting some more of this border done around her. Now that I have this gold thread end that I was waiting on, I can get some more work done on her, because a lot of these I needed the gold to go around all of the different motifs and things that go down the sides there. And since I had to run and go get her, the other one that was on my WIP Go, and I was trying to explain to you guys, was my Autumn Angel. So she's going to get some more work. And this is Autumn Angel. So I had pulled her up in one of my other WIP Goes and worked a lot in filling in some of this. So I'm going to try to get more of this. She's got a whole bouquet here and things like that. But she is so close to being finished. And that's why she was put on my WIP Go board, is so that maybe this could be one that I could get some progress on and possibly get her finished this year, because she's an old WIP. So those are going to be all of my projects that I'm going to be trying to work on for the month of June, unless you know, I go around and I look through my stuff and I decide I want to work on something else also. But I think I got my plate pretty full on working on these, so I'm going to get working on that. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys was a couple of things I got for haul this week. I did tell you I got the gold thread for, I needed 4 cards of the Rainbow Treasure Braid PB01 for her. So what I also did, I ordered that from 123 Stitch. They had it in stock. And so I thought, well, you know, if I'm going to order 4 little cards of thread, I might as well, you know, make it worth the package. So I ordered, let me see if I can find it. I got a piece of haul. I ordered another pattern because you know that my other hobby is buying the patterns. So this one is by Twin Peak Primitives, and this one's called One Nation Under God. And that's just another patriotic sampler that I just thought was beautiful. So I had to get this one. And so I got that. I got the gold threads. And I went ahead and I ordered, one good thing about, and I don't work for 123 Stitch. I don't get any kind of kickback or anything from them. Just trying to let people know places that you can order stuff. But a lot of times when you click on their pattern, they'll have the whole list of all of the supplies you need to complete that project. So for this one, it listed a bunch of Weeks Dye Works. So I said, I clicked on select all and got all of the threads that they did have in stock. So I do have, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do have several of the threads that I need to complete this one. I think there were like maybe 3 that they didn't have. So I don't quite have all of them, but I do have a lot of them. I think one of the brighter blues they didn't have in. I think there were a couple others. So I got these that go with this pattern. And I still need to pick out a fabric, but I'm not going to start this one right now anyway. But it's partially kitted and ready. It'll be ready when I'm ready to start on it. So that is that. That is my haul. And also one other little thing that I did acquire. I don't know why my hair's sticking out. Crazy. I was outside again today for a little while. One other thing that I did pick up this week, kind of cross-stitch related. It's for storage for my DMC flosses. And I was at Hobby Lobby and I found this in the clearance area. So they had it marked down to $14.99. And this is not, I left the label on here to show you guys what it actually is. It's a photo keeper. So a lot of, you know, maybe scrapbookers would use this to keep photos in. But it comes with 16 different compartments. But I am going to use it to, I've already put my DMCs that are still on the skeins and a couple that are on floss drops that got put back in here. I'm organized them this way so that I still need to label it, put labels on these. But like the first container just has all my white and accrue DMC. I always make sure that I keep a stock of white and black for sure, because a lot of patterns will call for white and black. And just like the one piece that I'm working on, The Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut, I'm switching in white. Well, I already had white that I could just pull out of my, and that's what I did. I went in, found my white container and just pulled the white skein so that I could start doing that. So I'm going to put a little label on here that, you know, just says white or accrue. And what I do is I separate them by, like these right here are the 300s. So any of the DMC flosses that are in number 300, and you can see I have a few black in there because, like I said, black is another color that's used quite frequently, and a couple other DMCs are in here. A container that'll be for 400, 500, 600, you know, and so on. So this, like, these are my 400s that I have. So that's one way to store my threads. these are the non-bobbinated. I store bobbinated threads in a different container. But how I was storing them before, well, how I stored it years ago was any extra flosses that I had, any extra DMC that I had, and that's all I used to stitch with because I didn't know anything about over-dyed, silk flosses or anything like that. All of the patterns that I had back in the day they just called for DMC. And I never did any kind of conversions. I just worked with the called for, whatever they said, and I'd have to go to the store and go buy what I didn't have. And if I had extra skeins of DMC like these that I just showed you, I had them in a big 2-gallon Ziploc bag. And every time I would want to kit up something, I would have to go through that whole bag and try to, where's 320? Where's 320? Do I have 320? I don't know. Sometimes it would just be easier to go to the store and buy new, but then I would never use what I had. So I really wanted to organize. So I took them out of the 2-gallon bag when I started stitching again back 8-9 months ago. And I had this shoe container, just a plastic shoe container you can pick up at a dollar store or wherever. And then I had sandwich baggies that I labeled, like these were the 500s, and all of my skeins that were 500s were in this Ziploc baggie. All the ones that were 200s were in this Ziploc baggie, and so on. My whites and the crews were in this one. So, and I had them in, I tried to keep them in order of, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, so I could go through and find my flosses that way. And it worked. It worked a whole lot better than having, 150 skeins of floss in one big huge gallon bag from color white to 370 something, So I graduated from this to this. Now this does take up a little bit more space, but I think I'm going to like these little containers better than my Ziploc bags. If you are on a very tight budget, or you don't have, this was on clearance. I don't know how much these regularly cost. For all I know, it could be $40 regularly, and I got it for $14.99. I don't know. But this is a very cost-effective way. And I've seen other YouTubers that do a lot of, they'll show how they use index cards and different things. But I just use sandwich baggies and put a piece of tape within, and put them in the different sections in baggies. And that's how I was using it for the last 8 or 9 months to find if I had that DMC color on a skein before I went out and bought another one. So that worked until I got this, and now I've graduated up to. So that is just a tip on 2 different ways you can store your DMC flosses. So that was my haul. And I think the last thing I wanted to go show you guys, and I've moved these scroll frames in my way. I wanted to show you a couple of previous finishes that I had done years ago. And I actually FFO'd them. They're framed pieces. The first one is a Mirabilia, and she was stitched back in 2000. I probably finished her in either 2002 or 2003. Because this piece was done by Mirabilia in memory of 9/11. She wanted to do a pattern, and it's called Lady of the Flag. And so I had stitched her. I had told you previously my ex-husband was a firefighter, and I live in Virginia. Here is the Mirabilia Lady of the Flag, done on 16 count Aida. Just some off-white color. It might be lamb's wool. So here's the whole, I'm trying not to get too much reflection there. There's the whole picture. But I had told you my first husband was a firefighter. And he actually was a firefighter with Fairfax County, Virginia, which is up in Northern Virginia. Just 20 minutes outside of DC. And when 9/11 happened, we live I actually know a lot of people that work at the Pentagon. I actually used to work next to the Pentagon, my first job. And my dad worked at the Pentagon when he used to work for the, after he retired from the Navy, he went to work for the Department of Defense, and he worked at the Pentagon and the Navy Annex and the Naval Yard, all in Washington, D.C. So when 9/11 happened, it hit really close to home. We, my husband, my first husband, he went in and he was there to help at the Pentagon. He wasn't on duty when it happened, but as a firefighter, when he heard the call, he headed up 95, Interstate 95. He said 95 was shut down. There were, all of the on-ramps onto 95 were closed. There were, our military were standing, guarding the highway so that people couldn't get in or out near the Pentagon. He had to flash his fire department badge, and they waved him through as a first responder. He did what he could. He told me it was an eerie scene. If you live in the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, the traffic that's usually on 95, it was dead silent. There was nobody, hardly anybody except for rescue workers on 95, ambulances, fire trucks, police cars. They had the whole Pentagon area roped off. And he said it was eerie. There were military and police helicopters flying around the site, but that was the only noise besides the ground noise. It was eerie, he said. It just, the smell of the jet fuel and all of the people out on the lawn being helped. I had friends that were in the Pentagon. They, one lady got out through a hole in the wall, a friend of mine's sister that was working there at the time. My ex-husband told me that there were a bunch of people sitting in a meeting, and that was really close to where the plane hit, and nobody survived that area. The one good saving grace was there was a lot of construction going on that side of the Pentagon, so a lot of the offices were empty. That is a good saving grace. But one friend of mine's husband still has PTSD to this day because he was at the Pentagon. He was retired Air Force, and he was there, and he can't even smell the smell of gasoline. So this piece means a lot to me. We had firefighter friends that worked in New York City. I had one friend who, he was with Fairfax County Fire Department, but he originally was from New York City. And when he heard about what happened at the Twin Towers, he drove up to New York City, which is only 5 hours away. And he went up there and next to his firefighter buddies and dug through the rubble for days and days and days, just trying to hope to find anybody alive under the rubble. And then he ended up developing what they called WTC cough. In layman's terms, it was World Trade Center cough, because he breathed in all of the debris that was around the crash, where the buildings came down, that site, ground zero. So a lot of people I know were affected by 9/11. And it was just a day that I won't forget. I know where I was when I saw the first tower collapse. And I actually was with one of the ladies whose husband was at the Pentagon, and she could not get through to her husband. For 2 hours, she kept trying to get through, and all of the cell towers were just jammed, and nobody could get through to anybody. So this piece means a lot, and so I had to stitch this. And this is probably my favorite piece that I have done so far, is Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. And I need to get her hung back up on my wall here. So that is the story of that one. And then the next two, I don't think they're in print anymore. just like the Lady of the Flag. I don't believe she's in print. I know a lot of people look for her. She's their unicorn project. I know SamBrie Stitches is working on one that a friend loaned her and things like that. I have to see if I still have the pattern in my stash somewhere. But she was stitched a long time ago. So, like I said, I stitched her back in 2001 and 2002. Probably finished her in 2002 or 2003. This one is another... I don't remember if this was a Mirabilia or Lavender and Lace. I want to say it was a Lavender and Lace. I cannot find it online, but this one is a picture of 3 fairies. And there again, all of the beautiful beading and the metallic threads. And I was drawn to this piece because I always loved the Disney animated movie of Sleeping Beauty. And my favorite characters were the little fairies. I just found them so adorable, so cute. So I stitched this one probably about around the same time I did Lady of the Flag, probably right after. So these two I had professionally framed, and they're the only professionally framed pieces I have so far. This third piece that I'm going to show you today is another one that I'm not sure. I don't know who the designer is. I don't know the pattern. I framed it myself, and it's just in a really cheap plasticky frame, but I actually don't think I did too bad of a job on this one. And I stitched this one in 1992, finished it in 1992. I probably started it in like 1990 or something. And between all the wedding samplers and things I used to stitch back in the day. And it's just an alphabet sampler, a bunch of hearts, and I just found this one, I really liked this piece. So I just wanted to show you some of the finished pieces that I do have. And I have a few more I can show you in a you know, another video, another day, another time. So I think that about covers it. And I wish you guys a good stitchy week. May you guys stay healthy, happy, and loved. And I just thank you for all the love you have shown me. And I'll get with you guys probably, like I said, June 11th, and show you what progress I have made on the pieces that I have for June. And you guys have a great rest of your day, and just fill the earth with love and light. And love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.